Ash rain. For 40 years, the earth had not tasted the coolness of rain, for it had not had the capability to condense vapor. For humanity had slowly begun to wonder and panic of what would have caused the peculiar event. Hate and rage around the earth from activists claiming and yelling about global warming had filled the people with sorrow, confusion, and hate. The governments around the world allied together to create a good enough excuse for their people. And then it happened on the 19th of October 2066, an island at the east coast of the Dead Sea. Suddenly, it happened. It rained. But it was not just any rain, for the rain was of a liquid metal, which was an element called mercury, and it was ash in color. And it was there it acquired the name ash rain. For the 40 years on earth, it was like hell on earth, for the air was hot and coarse. Fire outbreaks became more common, and it was as if the earth was trying to kill its inhabitants. And then it occurred. People around the world slowly lost people. For people who were farmers, were slowly getting exploited by their governments because farmers did not have access to easy water during the rainy seasons. But most other nations had different outlooks on it. For the EU began to value their farmers because the world could not produce enough farming materials in order to export. So the world was affected with this. For most of the world was affected by this dry earth syndrome. 23% of life in Africa died due to this issue. 17% of India was killed during this outbreak. 11% of the Middle East suffered badly during this period. Japan, Korea, Vietnam, and North Korea did not release any of the numbers. America, Canada, and Mexico had lost 3%, 6%, and 7% of their population, respectively. The EU had lost 64% of their citizens. This was terrible and it was drastic and it was alarming that it was so bad that the whole world had to come together in order to understand what had occurred. Even Africa did not lose that much of people. What would have caused this high outbreak of deaths? Then, the Russians, who were planning to invade the European Union, were immediately intercepted by the US. The US offered the Russians and the Chinese a quick allyship in order to bring back the rain to the planet because for 40 years no one had experienced rain. The world powers reluctantly accepted the deal the USA offered because they needed rain. And then it was established the RRC, the Rain Recovery Corps. And these people, the collection of scientists and firefighters and different people all across the globe that registered in order to explore the island at the Dead Sea to discover what caused rain to fall there. And this is where our story begins. A scientist by the name of John Alexander had been recruited due to his expertise in weather conditions to explore the island. All of you are humanity's last hope, said the director. You, with your expertise, will save the dry earth and bring rain back to Mother Earth. Let her testing heart be seated. John, feeling rather nihilistic, mutters to himself, the earth will remain thirsty for another 100 years. Not to that attitude, a woman said happily, Marie Jeanne is the name, and what's yours? As she extends her arms happily. John, confused, mutters, Jean, John Alexander, a weather scientist, and you are. I am a geography expert, and I am working with him. And as she points to a man with a rather odd statue, his name is Jake, she explained. He is a mineralogy expert. Cool, said John. So we are undergoing this mission with a bunch of inexperienced fools. Marie, flabbergasted, shot back. I will have you know that this fool is one of the greatest geography experts in all of France. Fair enough, said John. But please do not interfere with my quiet time. We arrive at noon on the island that reigns Mercury. Is that not how is that even possible? Asked Marie. I do not know, said John. Maybe ask God as he leaves and goes in for the mission. The staff arrive at the enclosure as they put on their RCC suits for the exploration, and he joins his team to arrive on the island. And then it happened. The staff arrived on the island and they encountered the most bizarre set of events any human being could experience: the dead forest. The RCC members walk into the forest of metal trees and glossy, uneven floors. The air was even drier than usual, and the people were uneasy. It was too quiet. You could almost hear your own organs functioning as they were beating. It was a surreal experience. It felt as if they had left the earth. John, looking for anything that would explain this phenomenon, suddenly felt a bunch of small arms around his shoulder, and in an unknown voice, he heard, Miss me, Johnny? Marie said excitedly. No, Miss French, trying to focus on the issue at hand. Marie says, if the court was unable to see this, would you think they would go insane? John chuckled. Yes, it is really insane. Maybe they will finally discover that maybe the hell on earth was never what they explained. Jake, running towards our two madmen, found a cave and he yelled, Marie, this cave contains clear water. Marie shocked. Water on this island? Let us check it. John and Marie accompanied Jake as he led them into a cave, a deep cave that was full of metal on the ground. Well, as soon as they walked in, they discovered a watering hole of pure, clear water. And if you look at this machine right here, you can tell that the water is clearly pure because it was tested with a filtration device, Jake explained happily. And then John saw it. A sound that he has never heard in his entire life occurred. Thunder. What was that? He and Marie, terrified, stared out the cave. Where was that sound from? Jake explained. That seems to be the sound of what happens when rain is about to occur. Marie, terrified. How can we be calm in a situation like this? That kind of sound, it seems that something went off and exploded. Jake explains to her, it might most likely be the rain that's about to fall. And then it occurred. The metal ground under their feet began to heat up. It is beginning to become as hot as 90 degrees. And then Marie explained to the team, please run up to any high surface you can find. Marie, John, and Jake found a rock in the middle of the cave and ran towards it in order to escape their currently hot ground. Jake managed to hold the side alongside John while Marie managed luckily to get to the top of the rock. And then the ground below them became a sea of liquid mercury. John, curious, put his finger in between the river of mercury and it was immediately eaten off by the hot mercury. Be careful, Marie shouted. It is poisonous. John, stilled with resolve and of the pain of the unbearable burning of his skin, tore off his finger with a knife and threw the finger into the mercury licked abyss. And then it occurred. Marie got her device, calling her team. Hello, can anybody reach me? Something has occurred. The rain of mercury has started. But unfortunately for her, she had received no answer. They can't reach us, and I can't hear them back. What is going on? And then John, still in his resolve, looks at Marie with dead eyes and tells her, the soldiers, the RCC men are dead. Marie, confused at the situation, like, no, they can't be dead. We just arrived here, not 30 minutes ago. You're telling me we're the only people that have survived on this island. And John stared at her with dark eyes. Yes. The rain stops suddenly. Below them is still a sea of hot mercury. And they turn towards to call out Jake in order to figure out how they will get away from the situation. Just to see Jake with his legs missing. And that's the end of the story. Till next, to continue later on, I'll continue to explain this story and the darkness and how terrifying it is to be a victim of the ash rain. If you have any ideas, you can put them down. Good.